Thanks. I got an introduction slide, but I'll just say I'm Scott Howell III. I work for Pinsightmedia as a DevOps engineer, but I'm not a classically trained computer science guy, computer engineer. I'm an accountant and a political scientist that started dabbling in code and figured out I could make a lot more money in computers than in accounting or political science. So changing culture through personal reflection. I've went through a kind of a reflection and a transformation. When I started this, Pinsight was going through a change also. We were moving back into actually doing Scrum the correct way. It was frustrating. There was a lot of conflict. People kind of didn't like the DevOps team, and we didn't like a lot of other people in the company. It was a lot of conflict and bad things. I was one of the guys that a lot of devs didn't want to work with because I didn't like the devs. I'll admit, the devs we thought didn't know what they were doing, and they didn't think we knew what we were doing as operations people, and it sucked because we had silos. We've heard a lot about this week that silos are really bad, and we were stuck in that. Not by anyone's fault in the company, not by the operations team or the development team or the business team, but the silos really created frustration because every time there was a break on a server, operations blamed the devs, and the devs blamed operations for the servers going down and the applications going down. So it was awful. This was a perfect example. Every time it worked in dev, we threw it over the wall, and it was operations problem. It wasn't a good environment to work in, and it really made me think about why I was at Pinsight. But there was a better way, and I discovered that through a couple of things. I started reading about what DevOps really was. I learned that it wasn't automation. It wasn't creating Ansible playbooks to automate my life away. It was about building a culture, forming teams, and working to a common objective. And that better way was I went back and joined a Scrum team. Half the Scrum teams here, developer-wise, that I work with now. And I think a lot of that is because I joined the Scrum team, and I started helping them figure out what DevOps was and how we could get better. So yeah, I joined the team. First iteration that I worked with, it was very tense, to say the least. The devs were still kind of like, well, Scott's on the team now, but we don't like working with him. And I was like, well, I don't know if this is going to work out, working with the guys that I didn't think knew anything. And so we kind of started over. We've put the past behind us, and we started fresh. And we started working at figuring out how we could get common goals on the team for our product. So we found common goals, and one of the first things is that we were going to start fixing all of the tech debt we had built up over the past 2 years on the team. So we started going through and building out better Ansible playbooks, fixing code, fixing unit tests, figuring out ways that we could automate our builds so that we could get to deploy faster. So we figured out common goals that was going to help the business become better. And that really helped start working with the devs and operations together to make everything go. And we got to work. Let's see, we're 6 months in, and I would say that the relationship I have with the devs I work with on a day-to-day basis is the best it's been since I started at Pinsight 2.5 years ago. We don't have any conflict anymore. There's no frustration. We work together, we solve problems together, and we try to get to the root cause of the problem and not blame anyone. That's the biggest thing, is that we had to stop blaming on the team that it was either operations fault or QA fault or developers fault or the business fault. So, have we won yet? I don't know. I don't know if it's a win. It's a positive. We've turned the corner. I guess we have small wins, which is in DevOps, small batches. So we've had small wins. So yeah, it's a success. I go to work every day, trying to help that team succeed and trying to help the DevOps team succeed now. And it really feels good. But there's more to do. And one of the big things is actually changing the culture, not just on the team that I work on, but the greater culture of the business. And that's something that I have to work harder on. Our lead for the DevOps team is sitting over there, and he'll tell you that there's a lot of frustrations that I create at the office that I got to work on. So now I have to take it from the team that I work on and expand out across the whole company. But the most important thing is have fun. I think that's the most important thing that you could do as a team member, DevOps, developer, QA, is have fun with the team you work on and figure out that common goal that you want to have to do really good. But all in all, it all just comes down to herding cats. I mean, that's what we do. We all herd cats. Everyone's herding cats together. Product herds all the developers and operations guys because we're all a bunch of cats trying to do our own thing. I help herd QA and developers, so just have fun. Thanks.
All right.